Dear 2022 Young World delegates, ladies and gentlemen, it's my pleasure to join you today to discuss the pressing issue of disinformation. My name is Peter Wagner, and I am the head of the Service for Foreign Policy Instruments at the European Commission. I would like to apologize for not being able to be present with you physically. My duties have taken me to travel at short notice far away from Manchester. Let me talk a little bit about how I see the context of the increasing role of disinformation in fueling unrest and conflict. I've been invited to speak to you on the difficult topic of disinformation, and let me start by saying that it's also because of my background as a former journalist that this issue is very close to my heart. Disinformation and hate speech as tools to fuel divisions and conflicts are not new. They are as old as mankind. That is the sad story we saw in Europe in the 1930s or in Rwanda with Radio Mille Collines in 1994. However, what is different today is the scale and speed with which disinformation, hate speech, or violent extremist propaganda now spread online through social media. As a service that works to prevent conflicts, respond to crises, and address global security challenges, our perspective on increased disinformation and information manipulation is that it has a detrimental impact in contexts that are anyhow already fragile. The feedback from all actors on the ground, embassies, local civil society, NGOs, authorities, is unanimous. Disinformation and hate speech thrive, and they are fueling tensions and divisions, triggering outbreaks of violence and undermining social cohesion. This is what happened in Myanmar in 2016, with orchestrated campaigns of hate speech on social media that resulted in the Rohingya crisis, or in Sri Lanka with anti-Muslim riots in 2018. In Libya, online disinformation has become a new warfare in which bots and trolls have been used by the various national, regional, and international powers to target and undermine opponents, as well as the peace process more generally. Another worrying trend is the suppression of independent and critical voices and online harassment of activists through targeted campaigns of hate speech. This not only directly threatens their security, but it also undermines the critical work that they're doing to uphold democratic values and fundamental rights. So what does the EU do to tackle disinformation? As the EU External Action First Responder, the service that I'm heading, the Foreign Policy Instruments, has been engaged with these matters for years already. We have supported initiatives to counter violent extremist propaganda in Southeast Asia, in Central Asia, in the MENA region, in Eastern Europe. When COVID-19 became a pandemic, very early on, we focused on tackling the disinformation flows that were affecting the health response, undermining the resilience of conflict-affected societies. We are also helping authorities and civil society groups to better take into account foreign interference in the information environment during the critical political processes like elections or peace processes. Last but not least, we are also trying to engage social media platforms in a dialogue to raise their awareness on challenges and opportunities of harmful content moderation, notably in the conflict-affected contexts. So, as you can see, for us, disinformation and online harm have now become critical peace and security matters that we, collectively, need to take into account when we address tensions and conflicts. Indeed, also the responses need to be both global and specific to each context, and we need to act at all levels, at the UN, at the European level, the national level, but also the local level. The EU is particularly well placed to do so, being able to talk to the social media platforms, to develop, set, promote global standards, and at the same time work with local actors to support their implementation on the ground. In addition to the already existing tools and initiative, one principal and cross-cutting objective is to strengthen transparency and accountability frameworks for online platforms. This objective is central to the EU's Digital Services Act, but it is also very relevant in conflict-affected contexts. The challenge in these contexts is to work out how accountability mechanisms can be made to work even in the absence of strong institutions. We need to support the capacities within the state and within civil society, and to find the appropriate mechanisms to collaborate with online platforms and social media companies to mitigate jointly the negative effects of disinformation. Last but not least, we need to bear in mind that social media provide immense opportunities to enhance access to reliable information and to promote narratives of coexistence and peace. There's nothing inherently bad about our new reality. The question is, how are we using it? I will end on this positive note and take this opportunity to congratulate also the 50 European Commission Peace Ambassador Scholars who have been selected this year, which coincides with the 2022 European Year of the Youth. I do hope you will have fruitful discussions and count on you to help us create a safer, greener, and more exclusive world. Thank you very much.